So this is a Spanish movie by Oriol Paulo, and I've seen one of his movies before. One called The Invisible Guest, which I honestly don't remember much about. It was some sort of mystery thriller thing, but I don't even know how much I liked it. But I do know I liked this one, and I really only had one issue with it. The pacing, it needed to be tighter. It felt like it was always moving toward the end, just a bit too slowly. Almost from the very beginning it felt like it was dragging its feet. So that kinda dropped it down a notch for me as far as enjoyment went. But other than that, I really don't have any complaints. It's a well-made movie. And it's an interesting movie because it's kind of a time travel movie. And I don't even really know how to explain it. Because it uses a lot of time travel mechanics, without any actual time travel. But if you look at it structurally, the way the story is built and set up, it's essentially a time travel story. And I like those, but there's really not a lot of them around. Probably because they're really difficult to write. Trust me, I've tried. At least if you really want to embrace it and build something complex with it. And this one, well, it seems to be more complex than it actually is. There's not that many layers to it, there's really only two. The past and the present. And it's about these two characters. This woman who's in the present and this kid who's back in 1989. And let's just say they're connected and their stories intertwined through this strange event. And they have to then figure out what's going on and how to deal with the situation. That's the core of the story here, these two trying to solve this puzzle. But there's a few more things going on too, like this whole murder mystery aspect, which also ties into the rest of the story and plays an important part. And if you really look at it, it's a pretty intricate web of characters and events that all relate to each other. Everything affects something else, and I really appreciate how well planned and thought out it was. And there were a few things toward the end that I thought were really clever too. But on the other hand, there was this one thing that didn't exactly blow my mind, which I think was supposed to be a twist or a surprise, but I just saw it coming immediately, literally from the first moment. It was way too obvious. But that didn't really hurt the story or anything. It just wasn't as clever as it tried to be. So yeah, I really enjoyed the story and it did stay pretty coherent and it made sense. I mean, like most time travel movies, there are a few things here and there that are a bit iffy. Questions about the logic and the mechanics that I didn't get any good answers to. But then again, it's almost impossible to write a story like this that's bulletproof, with no issues whatsoever. You just sort of have to go with it. And it's essentially fantasy anyway. They try to give the events some sort of scientific reasoning, but it's all just nonsense and I would have probably preferred if they didn't even try. Like take Back to the Future for instance. You can't question the flux capacitor and the gigawatts. It doesn't make any sense, so you might as well just roll with it. And it doesn't make it any less good. But yeah, it's a good story, and the acting and the characters were really good too. It's also a well shot and decent looking movie, so no complaints there either. But as I said, the pacing could have used some work. It kinda lacked energy, you know? Made it feel a lot longer than it was, which is a bit of a shame. But it was still enjoyable. But would I recommend it? Sure, if you like time travel, this is definitely worth checking out. So maybe give it a look, maybe don't. I'm not your past, present or future dad, but I'm still trying to sell out, so consider liking, subbing, hitting that bell and supporting me on Patreon. Because I really need one of those 1980s camcorders for my videos. And hey, why not drop a comment below or check out another review? I'd appreciate it. Thanks.